The movie starts with a scene in which Yo-Jua, a lovely young woman, is strolling along the street and relishing a tasty bun. Suddenly, she collides with a handsome man, Dong-Hyun, causing her to drop her food on the pavement. Initially, Jua is angry and considers berating the boy, but his charming smile and disarming demeanor leave her feeling smitten. She attempts to engage Dong-Hyun in conversation, but he appears to be in a hurry and dashes off before she can say much. Later that evening, Jua confides in her online friend, Hyuni, and learns that she's excitedly preparing to attend a fan event. However, Hyuni soon reveals that she is scheduled to work at a local convenience store on the day of the event. Upon realizing how much this opportunity means to Hyuni, Jua makes a generous offer. She will work in the convenience store at her friend's place, allowing Hyuni to attend the fan event. Delighted by her friend's gesture, Hyuni starts screaming with joy. As Juna arrives at the convenience store the next day, she is surprised when a guy approaches her and strikes up a conversation. To her astonishment, she quickly realizes that it's none other than the charming stranger she met the day before, Dong-Hyun, aka Hyuni. Jua is taken aback by this revelation, as she thought Hyuni was a girl. Despite her initial shock, Jua remains determined to help her friend attend the fan event and bravely steps up to work in his place. As she goes about her duties in the store, Jua catches the eye of a guy named Jae-Hyun, who seems to be admiring her from a distance. Eventually, he works up the courage to approach her and asks for her phone number. Despite being flattered by Jae-Hyun's attention, Jua's past experiences leave her feeling somewhat hesitant. She recalls a time when she misinterpreted a handsome boy's friendly conversation as flirting, only to realize later he was speaking to his girlfriend via wireless headphones. With this in mind, Jua decides to directly ask Jae-Hyun about his intentions, to which he responds by confessing that he is genuinely interested in her. After helping Dong-Hyun attend the event, Jua receives a kind thank you from him. Out of the blue, he offers her a job at the convenience store. Jua is thrilled at the prospect of working there, but wonders if the boss will accept her. To her surprise, Dong-Hyun reveals that he's actually the boss and urges her to start her shift the following day. The next day, when Jua arrives at the store holding a pack of mint-flavored milk juice, she meets another part-time worker, Soo-bin. Soo-bin appears to be mean and scolds Jua for arriving late. After his shift is over, he prepares to leave, and at the same time, a couple of girls arrive there looking for him. However, when they don't see him around, they leave the store immediately. Here, Jua learns that though Soo-bin appears to be rude, he is popular among the girls. Later in the day, a customer named Woo-Saw comes in looking for a mint-flavored milk pack, but can't find it. When he notices Jua's packet, he insists on buying it from her despite her protests. Right then, Dong-Hyun and Jae-Hyun also arrive at the store, distracting Jua. Using this opportunity, Woo-Saw secretly grabs the milk packet and drinks the contents. In the following scene, as Jua and Dong-Hyun are walking down the street, she notices that he is carrying a pack of mint chocolate. She asks if he ordered it specifically for Woo-Sok, and he confirms it. Jua is surprised and asks why he only ordered one packet. Dong-Hyun explains that he used to order more, but they didn't sell well, so he only orders one for Woo-Sok now. Jua is impressed by Dong-Hyun's thoughtfulness and thanks him for going above and beyond for a single customer. She then mentions that she also likes mint chocolate, and Dong-Hyun promises to order 2 packets from now on. They then playfully argue whether mint chocolate tastes good or bad. At work, when Jua is organizing the top shelf, she slips and falls, but luckily, Soo-bin is there to catch her. He asks why she is alone, and she explains that she was just trying to organize things. After Soo-bin leaves, Jua tends to her bruises and cramps with a mint bandage. Right then, Woo-Sok enters the store and remarks on the pleasant smell. Seeing this, Jua realizes that he must have an obsession with the scent of mint. Later, while Woo-Sok is searching for something in the store, he notices a small child struggling to reach a drink in the refrigerator. He tries to help by grabbing the drink, but the child starts crying loudly. As Woo-Sok tries to figure out what went wrong, the child's father arrives and accuses him of making his son cry, threatening to call the police. He doesn't let Woo-Sok explain himself, and that's when Jua arrives and claims to know him. She suggests looking at the security footage to clear up the misunderstanding. After reviewing the CCTV footage, the child's father apologizes for his behavior, and Woo-Sok hands the drink to the child before they leave. The next day, Woo-Sok visits the store and buys 2 packets of mint chocolate. He offers one to Jua, who is surprised by the gesture and wonders why he gave it to her. Woo-Sok explains that it was a buy-one-get-one deal, and he wanted to save money. Jua chimes in and suggests that if Woo-Sok wants to save money, then he should quit smoking. He then departs, but not before thanking Jua for her help from the previous day. Shortly after, Jae-Hyun enters the store and starts flirting with Jua. He asks if she would like to go to the movies with him, mentioning that he has 2 free tickets that need to be used by the end of the month. Jae-Hyun also states that he doesn't have a girlfriend, which surprises Jua, and he quickly leaves, informing her that they will go watch a movie on Saturday. Later, Woo-Sok comes into the store to make a purchase, and Jua offers him his favorite cigarette. To her surprise, he declines it, opting for something else instead. Jua asks him if he's quit smoking, to which he replies that he is trying because someone he cares about doesn't like it. Later, two boys attempt to purchase cigarettes from Jua without proper identification, but she refuses to sell them. This makes the boys angry, so they get aggressive with her. At the same time, Jae-hyun arrives and intervenes to settle the matter, but the boys continue to challenge him. Shortly after, Soo-bin enters the store and takes matters into his own hands, teaching the boys a lesson and prompting them to flee in fear. Jua thanks both Soo-bin and Jae-hyun for their efforts and asks Soo-bin why he's at the store even though his shift has ended. He simply replies that he's a customer who has come to buy something. Later on, Jua and Jae-hyun go to a restaurant to eat and the latter gets drunk. He confesses that he had come earlier to protect Jua from the boys, but Soo-bin intervened and ruined his plan. He then promises to be her hero and protect her from now on. Hearing this, Jua smiles, but tells him not to drink anymore and urges him to go home. Jae-hyun asks her to have faith in him and then passes out in her hands. Concerned by this, Jua calls for a taxi to take him home and watches over him until the taxi arrives. In the next scene, Jua is shown working hard to complete an assignment by staying up all weekend. However, the next day she is exhausted and keeps nodding off during her shift at the convenience store. Despite her best efforts to stay awake, Jua eventually falls asleep and has a strange dream about a woman ringing a bell near her ears. When she tries to stop her, she suddenly wakes up to see a customer looking at her strangely. She then turns around to see Dong-hyun assisting the customer. After the customer leaves, Jua lashes out at Dong-hyun for not waking her up earlier. But instead of getting defensive, he playfully teases her about how she was moving her hands like a child in her sleep and how cute she looked. He then urges Jua to go home and get some rest, but she refuses and insists on completing her shift. As Jua continues to work, she sees Soo-bin and wonders why he's working late. The latter reveals that Dong-hyun had asked him to help her out. Jua is touched by Dong-hyun's kindness and grateful to Soo-bin for his assistance. But as she tries to focus on her work, she suddenly feels a sharp pain in her stomach and rushes to the washroom. In the bathroom, she realizes that it's already that time of month and she forgot to bring any feminine products or extra clothes with her. Feeling annoyed and frustrated with herself, Jua sits inside the bathroom waiting for the next part-time worker, a girl, to arrive, hoping that they will have something she can use. To her surprise, Soo-bin enters the bathroom and leaves a small plastic bag outside Jua's stall. Jua cautiously opens the bag and finds a sanitary pad and a spare pair of shorts for her to wear. Relieved, Jua can't help but smile as she silently thanks Soo-bin. Back in the store, Jua expresses her gratitude to Soo-bin for his help and asks if he's hungry. He politely declines and then tosses a packet of sandwiches towards her. Jua catches it, and they playfully banter as Soo-bin teases her, making her reach for the sandwich. Just then, Dong-hyun arrives carrying a bag of fresh sandwiches for Jua. Because of this, she finds herself in a dilemma, unsure of whose sandwich to accept. After a brief moment of hesitation, she decides to go with Soo-bin's sandwich, thanking Dong-hyun for his kind offer. In the next scene, Dong-hyun approaches Jua with a solemn expression and informs her that he has been compelled to let her go from the job. He explains that some customers have complained about her to his seniors, and he has no choice but to terminate her employment. Jua accepts the news with grace and responds that she might have unknowingly done something wrong. Jae-hyun then enters the store, notices the serious atmosphere, and inquires about the reason behind Jua's dismissal. In response, Dong-hyun admits that he is unsure of the details himself. The scene then flashes back to a few days earlier when two college girls had entered the store and warned Jua to stay away from Soo-bin. Despite Jua's explanation that Soo-bin is her colleague, the girls grew annoyed and began to question her employment status. Back in the present day, Jae-hyun expresses his concern that he won't be able to see Jua as often, but she assures him that she will still visit the store frequently. Suddenly, Jae-hyun has an idea and suggests throwing a farewell party for Jua, to which Dong-hyun readily agrees. Later, we see Jua, Dong-hyun, Jae-hyun, Soo-bin, and Woo-sok sitting at a cozy restaurant gathered to celebrate Jua's farewell party. She expresses her excitement about visiting the restaurant for the first time and trying out their exotic spicy meals. As they start to taste the dishes, they all find it to be much spicier than expected. Even Jae-hyun, who claimed to eat spicy food regularly, struggles to swallow and ends up drinking all of Woo-sok's mint-flavored milk to ease the burning sensation in his mouth. Soon they decide to play a game of Never Have I Ever. The rules are simple. They have to raise their hand and spread their fingers. One by one, they have to state a fact, and whoever has done that particular thing needs to fold one of their fingers. The game continues for about 5 or 6 rounds, and soon enough, all of them only have one finger remaining to fold. At this point, it's Dong-hyun's turn, and he comes up with a surprising question. He says that if anyone has a crush on someone in the group, they need to fold their finger. The group goes silent, and all eyes turn towards each other. To everyone's surprise, all of the boys fold their fingers, leaving only Jua with her fingers still upright. She looks around, confused and a little taken aback, as everyone waits with bated breath. After a brief moment of contemplation, she slowly folds her finger too. The scene then changes and Jua is seen doing her makeup while her sister is sleeping in the same room. Suddenly, her sister wakes up and starts yelling at her for disturbing her sleep. Jua calmly informs her that it's already 11 o'clock and she needs to wake up. She also reveals that she's going on a date with her boyfriend. Upon hearing this, the sister bursts out laughing and starts asking her about her part-time job. Jua smiles and tells her that she met her boyfriend during work and that he's no less than an idol. Her sister becomes ecstatic and asks if the boyfriend has a brother she can date. Jua tries to brush off her sister's comment and manages to send her away, allowing her to leave the apartment alone. After leaving the apartment, Jua stops by the convenience store where she meets Subin. She invites him to join her for lunch at the same restaurant where they had partied the previous night. At first he hesitates, but when she keeps on insisting, he agrees. During this time, the same two college girls from before catch sight of Jua and start staring at her with hatred in their eyes. When Subin leaves to attend his duties, the girls approach Jua and start harassing her for trying to act cute in front of him. They also make fun of her clumsiness and the ice cream that got smeared on her cheek. To everyone's surprise, Subin suddenly appears on the scene and licks the ice cream off her face. This act of affection flusters Jua, while the girls are taken aback. Jua then declares that Subin is her boyfriend, leaving the girls shocked and envious. After lunch, as Jua is walking back home, she bumps into Dong Hyun. He asks her if they can still be friends, and Jua agrees. However, Dong Hyun then asks her to buy him a ticket for an upcoming concert. She hesitates for a moment but ultimately agrees to do it, and they part their ways. In the final scene, we see Woo-sok as well as another customer, who happens to be a beautiful girl, inside the convenience store searching for a pack of mint-flavored milk. After some searching, they find a single packet, and both of them reach for it at the same time, leading to a playful argument over who should take it. The girl finally decides to give the mint-flavored milk to Woo-sok, but she asks for his phone number in return. Woo-sok is surprised by the girl's sudden request, but he can't help but smile at her beauty and charm. The episode ends with Woo-sok giving his phone number to the girl, and as she walks away, he looks at her with astonishment and feels hopeful and excited about what the future holds.